Good morning, everyone,
Buenos días.
and welcome to the State Department. I want to congratulate everyone for following the first directions of the day, which were to come into the room. You were early. This is a great group. I think most of you know me, but I am Roberta Jacobson. I'm the Assistant Secretary for the Western Hemisphere here at the State Department. And I'm joined today by Deputy Secretary William Burns, William Brownfield, who's the Assistant Secretary for International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. And I'm also delighted to have with us our co-hosts, Consulate Chair, Attorney General, and Minister of Home Affairs, Adriel Braithwaite of Barbados, Deputy Minister of the Presidency, Luis Henry Molina of the Dominican Republic, and Ambassador Colin Granderson of CARICOM. And I'm very pleased to welcome you here to the fourth Caribbean-U.S. Security Cooperation Dialogue. We're delighted that everyone is here. We have today in front of us a very dynamic dialogue outlined in which we're looking to find ways to expand cooperation, exchange best practices, and move towards a more effective partnership. That's what we are calling our discussion today. This dialogue is critical to the partnership embodied in the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative. Successful partnership requires investing time to understand each other's needs and thinking together about how to address them. Today is the culmination of an enormous amount of preparation by all of our offices, and I want to thank all of those who've done the work to get us here. It's also a day that really demonstrates concretely the shared responsibility of all of us here, the CARICOM nations, the Dominican Republic, the United States, and all of our international partners, to ensure we're taking all the steps possible to increase citizen security across the region. And I'm particularly delighted to have with us today Deputy Secretary William Burns as our keynote speaker. Deputy Secretary Burns has long been a friend and a supporter of this hemisphere, and his persistent engagement underscores how strongly the United States, at the highest levels, supports our partners in the region and this deepening and equal partnership. Please join me in welcoming Deputy Secretary William Burns.
Good morning, everyone. We gather here this morning on a sorrowful note, mourning with the rest of the world the passing of a truly great man, Nelson Mandela. I ask that all of you join me in a moment of silence to honor Mr. Mandela and all that he stood for. Thank you very much. It's an honor, as Roberta said, to welcome you back to Washington. I want to thank all of you, our Caribbean partners and international donors, for your commitment to an initiative of great importance, not only for the Caribbean, but indeed for the entire Western Hemisphere. Last month, in a speech at the Organization of American States, Secretary Kerry declared that the era of the Monroe Doctrine is over. He explained that in this new era, the United States seeks a relationship of equals, adhering not to a doctrine, but to the decisions that we make as partners to advance the values and interests we share. The Caribbean Basin Security Initiative offers a vivid example of what that kind of partnership can yield. It is a partnership based on shared responsibility and mutual respect. It is a partnership based on shared approaches to shared challenges. And it is a partnership that is achieving results, reducing illicit trafficking, increasing public safety, and promoting social justice. But as all of you know, our task is far from complete. There is still much that we can do to build an even more effective partnership. Let me say just a few words about the progress we've made and how we might build on that progress in the coming year. First, we are accelerating our efforts to prevent the trafficking of narcotics, weapons, and persons. In part due to progress in other parts of the hemisphere, the Caribbean is seeing an increase in drug trafficking, an increase in the number of criminal gangs, an increase in the number of weapons, and an increase in violence that is undermining regional stability and economic growth. In response, we are deepening regional law enforcement cooperation so that Caribbean nations can share fingerprint and other data about suspected criminals that lead to arrests and prosecutions. We're increasing our efforts to stop arms trafficking, destroying nearly 2,000 weapons and 3 tons of ammunition over the past 3 years. We are improving maritime security through expanded training exercises with a specific focus on counter-narcotics missions. And we are increasing train and equip efforts to build the capacity of law enforcement agencies and security forces throughout the Caribbean. Indeed, thanks in part to the initiative, drug seizures are up 40% in the Dominican Republic and almost 300% in Guyana. But we can do more. The Regional Integrated Ballistic Information Network is operational, but is not fully integrated. We can accomplish that this coming year. We can also do a better job of detecting and interdicting threats before they make it to our shores by improving information sharing and our maritime domain awareness. And with multi-year plans for the maintenance and sustainment of our maritime assets, we can be sure that we will have the means to address this threat, not just today or tomorrow, but for many years to come. Second, we're making strides in our effort to prevent and reduce crime and violence, disrupt and dismantle organized gangs, and improve border security. By pooling our resources and our knowledge, we are helping Caribbean states develop a stronger and more effective justice sector. For example, this past year, Jamaica's Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Task Force dismantled a major criminal syndicate, arrested more than 100 suspects, and seized hundreds of vehicles and computers and tens of millions of dollars. We're also making progress in implementing civil asset forfeiture legislation to make sure law enforcement and rule of law agencies have the resources they need to do their job. Indeed, this past September, under its newly passed law, Dominica had its first successful cash seizure. But here, too, we can take decisive steps forward this year. We can do a better job of sharing biometric law enforcement data regionally through efforts like the Advanced Fingerprinting Information System, and by making sure that all initiative members have the proper legislative authorities for the seizure of assets by all states and investing them in a dedicated security fund, we can support law enforcement efforts in the years to come. Finally, and most importantly, we are paying special attention to the safety and security of our citizens, especially the young people who represent our hopes and dreams for the future of the Caribbean. Our main approach is prevention, making sure that we offer opportunities and services to youth so that they avoid entering the juvenile justice system. To date, more than 52,000 young people have participated in initiative programs in education and workforce development across the Caribbean. They are learning critical life and job skills, contributing positively to their communities, and working together with law enforcement to help resolve local conflicts and reduce violence. To succeed, we need to work even more closely with the private sector and our community leaders to develop the employment skills of at-risk youth and to provide them with sufficient opportunities to apply those skills. And we can work together to make sure alternative sentencing for youth is a routine practice of courts throughout the Caribbean region. This, too, will require building stronger connections among law enforcement, civil society, and business leaders. We came together this year committed to building a more effective partnership. I'm confident that with continued political will and sustained focus on implementation, our partnership will only grow stronger. And as it does, we can all be certain that we will be building a more peaceful and more prosperous Caribbean basin and contributing to a more peaceful and more prosperous Western Hemisphere. Thank you all very much, and good luck today.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Secretary. I would like to invite the heads of delegations, CARICOM, to join us here on stage. It'll be alphabetical order, and we'll be seating you in this table up here. So if you could join us for a photo opportunity with the Deputy Secretary. Thank you. We'll start Antigua and Barbuda. We'll be seated. The Bahamas.
geograph, but I said we have a map.
Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation, and we'll continue the opening session at this point. I'd like to introduce the Deputy Assistant Secretary, Roberta Jacobson, as we continue this morning with our dialogue.
Thank you, Gio. And I think many of you know Gio from years of working on these issues. But I do want to point out that probably none of us would be here, and certainly we would not be here as well prepared or as well organized without Gio. So thank you for all of your efforts. It's not entirely a one-man show, but he does a huge amount on these issues, and we're deeply grateful. I want to start off by saying that I'm particularly proud of the work that my government, but everybody in this room has done in the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative since President Obama launched it in 2009. In some ways, what is not entirely understood about the CBSI as compared to the initiatives that the U.S. has helped to work on in Colombia or in Mexico or even in Central America is that this initiative, the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, really did grow from the very beginning as a partnership. From the very beginning, the priorities and the emphasis was decided by Caribbean partners and nations, what they felt they needed, and then what we as partners felt we could help with. And so I think today we really have the opportunity to honor and build on 4 years of effort and resources dedicated to promoting citizen security in the Caribbean. And as none of us can forget, you all in so many ways more than I can, the real result of our work is safer and more productive citizens and communities in all of our countries. The United States recognizes that our effort requires a comprehensive regional and shared commitment. We're dedicated to leveraging lessons learned and best practices from around the hemisphere. Everyone here, and I think this is particularly important, everyone here has something to offer, and every country, including my own, has something to learn and to gain from today's conversation. The theme for today's dialogue is towards a more effective partnership. With this partnership comes a shared responsibility, which has been a theme of the Obama administration in this region since the beginning. Each country must put into place the necessary policies and commit the resources necessary to achieve the goals that we have together decided to prioritize: countering illicit trafficking, increasing public safety and security, and promoting social justice. To combat crime and violence in the Caribbean, we must continue to act cooperatively at the bilateral, sub-regional, and regional levels. We must make our programs ever more effective and commit to taking what are often difficult steps to deliver the results to all our citizens. The Deputy Secretary in his remarks laid out several programs that we should focus on, and I hope through our discussions today we will make significant progress on them. A cornerstone of our security cooperation is capacity building through effective training and regional information sharing for our law enforcement and justice officials. We developed these tools together, and now we can reap the benefits in better law enforcement and citizen security. Deputy Secretary Burns outlined another opportunity that we can't overlook as we work to make the Caribbean more stable and prosperous: our young people. Too often, I think all of us, because of what we do for a living, focus on youth at risk, or we focus on young people not having opportunities as a source of instability. But what we know and what stands behind our concerns is a much more positive recognition that our young people are the source of our prosperity and future progress in our countries. Investment in the region's youth pays dividends today and tomorrow by helping and allowing them to realize their full potential. The most successful economies in the world tap into this resource, encouraging young people's innovation, ideas, and inspiration. They are often the ones who keep us going. By providing our young people with the skills and space to develop themselves and their communities, we change the equation. Secretary Burns talked about USAID's efforts to train young people with basic education and workplace competencies, and how more than 52,000 of them have been trained since CBSI began in 2010. Those young people who are literate, who have been taught job skills, they are less likely to become victims to drug traffickers who target disillusioned youth. And I'm proud of this work and hope that we can focus part of today's conversation on our youth. In this time of limited resources and competing demands, our success depends on strong donor cooperation and coordination, making sure we are not redundant or wasteful. We welcome international partners' efforts to ensure assistance is targeted, complementary, and well spent. And I'm proud of the fact that in many ways already, especially in the Caribbean, we have, with our partners, ensured that if one country has resources and other country has people, we make that match to ensure that programs get funded and staffed with the right people moving forward. I want to thank Canada in particular for taking on the role of coordinating international partners. It will enhance our effectiveness as we work to advance citizen security. And I am particularly delighted at so many of the international partners who are here with us today to assist in the dialogue, including some who've joined us from the region. I want to close by echoing the observation Guyanese Prime Minister Sam Hinds made at the CBSI Commission meeting in Georgetown. He said, if as a region we are to continue to develop and enhance the well-being of our citizens, then we must, as a matter of necessity, take all steps to reduce crime and improve security in our countries. If we fail to take action, we will not be able to sustain and grow our economies. As we look forward to another year of partnership, I assure you that the United States is committed to working together to reduce crime and improve security in the Caribbean. It is one of the rare areas in this country that has bipartisan legislative support. The United States looks forward to achieving those results together. And I'm very pleased now to offer the floor to one of our tri-hosts, Minister Bernard Nottage. Thank you so much.
Good morning.